Minister, this is obviously a very sensitive area and one which, judging by the report's findings, has clearly affected the lives of a significant number of people. And the survey reports that 52% of women, 28% of men reported experiencing sexual violence in their lifetime. It must be noted that the definition of sexual violence in this survey is quite broad, as flagged in the report. And in the sense that when one thinks of violence, we may naturally think of physical encounters, but these statistics collected in this report encompass a wider range of behaviours. Sexual violence is defined in the report as any sexual act which takes place without freely given consent, or where someone forces or manipulates someone else into unwanted sexual activity. This sexual activity does not have to be physical in nature. Consent is a key aspect of any sexual activity, and the absence of that consent is what gives rise to this prevalence of unwanted sexual activity. And I know that there have been many efforts made in schools in recent years to help explain and educate young people in the area of healthy and positive relationships, and particularly in the area of consent. But the work of schools is not enough, and we cannot just expect schools to be the only place where the motion of consent is promoted. It must be promoted throughout society to make as many people aware that of the do's and don'ts of consent. The importance of good communication between partners ensures understanding about sex or physical closeness and helps to ensure that those involved feel comfortable and safe about what is happening. Most importantly, that the person giving consent is in a competent state where they can give consent freely and clearly. And the figures from the study related to people who reported a lack of consent, particularly among those aged 25 to 34, and it's quite concerning and shows that more work needs to be done around raising awareness and understanding of what consent is and how it is best communicated. And another issue which might be contributing to some of the issues raised in the survey is that of drink spiking. It isn't a new thing at all, but it is something which needs to be punished more seriously, and campaigns have been run to try and make people more aware of the signs that indicate their drink has been spiked, and also to encourage people to be more careful in terms of leaving their drinks unattended. And one such campaign was run by my own local second-level school, Ramsgrange Community School, where the transition year students brought that report here to Leinster House for the Taoiseach to read. And same was left in the Taoiseach's pigeonhole, and unfortunately that's over a year ago and no response has been received. Maybe, Minister, you might have a look at that. Reports say that in 2022 there were 106 incidents of drink spiking reported to the Gardaí, which compares to just 22 reports in 2021. Now, this either shows a major increase in drink spiking or a major increase in the willingness of people to report it, or perhaps a combination of both. And I note Minister Harris and Minister McEntee launched an awareness campaign back at the end of 2021, and the HSE is doing some good work in the area. However, there also needs to be a joined-up approach in terms of the way such issues are dealt with by An Garda and other arms of our legal system. Are our laws tight enough? Are they suitable? Do we need tougher punishments for those found guilty? Do the Gardaí have the resources available to deal with such crimes? We did hear very concerning reports from 2021 of a large number of domestic violence calls going unanswered by Gardaí. There were over 3,000 in fact. But I do hope that in the 2 years hence that the cause of this problem has been investigated thoroughly and that procedures are in place to ensure that every domestic violence call is dealt with the seriousness it deserves. People who contact the Gardaí, or indeed any support services for any sort of violence, but especially domestic or sexual violence, have shown great courage and bravery in doing so, and they need to have confidence in that their issue is being treated in a sensitive and suitable manner. Today, Minister, I'm reading what Ombudsman Niall Muldoon says in the media, and I quote the headline: "The state must invest in youngsters who are committing sexual crimes." He goes on to say that there's a lack of therapeutic services in this country, which is a real issue. The state needs to invest in children who are sexually violent if they're going to have a chance to turn their lives around. He further states that children have been committing sexual crimes long before widespread access to the internet and pornography, but that there were no therapeutic services to help underage abusers. It came after an annual report by the Office of the Children's Ombudsman said that the issue of sexual violence between children in schools had featured in a number of complaints last year. In one case, a secondary school girl had been made to feel that the sexual abuse was her fault after she brought it to the attention of the teachers. And speaking at the launch of this report yesterday, Dr. Muldoon said he felt that sexual violence between children needed to be better understood, as the state was currently ignoring the cohort of children. We need to be working with the young people who are carrying it out, and obviously with children who have suffered at the hands of that abuse, he said. And he states, we have raised this issue with the Department of Education and recommended that it be addressed as part of the new anti-bullying policy. In short, Lasceann Corla, I hope that this can be addressed as a matter of urgency, because there's not much point in having an ombudsman if we're not going to listen to what they have to say. Thank you.